Hey there, soccer freaks. This is ATL On Fire, the podcast where we talk all things Atlanta United Football Club. So sit back, buckle up, enjoy. So with the game last night, since we had got to see it front and center, what did you think about being back in the stadium and the vibe? What was your take last night?
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just being back, in the stadium and as an LA United fan, but just being back amongst people.
Yeah, that was last night was the first real night I've had in quite some time. So.
It felt different. And actually I felt like the crowd was very into it, but not as into it maybe pre-COVID. And I think people were just happy to be there.
True that. And so I felt like we started off with a nice little spark. It was clear that we had a better confidence going about us in the first 10-15 minutes of that game.
Mm-hmm.
And really throughout the game, I felt like we controlled the game way more than Montreal did. And it was always going to be a team that was trying to hit you on the counterattack, them being away at the Mercedes-Benz, full capacity. That's the only way you would expect a team to like that, that's built like that, to try to put a goal in against us. And their chances that they did have, Brad Guzan gave us a chance to scream goose during the game and, came up with some really good saves. The two chances I can think of that they had, Goose did such a good job of smothering them that it almost felt like they didn't even happen.
I have to say, and I guess we moved on from the Miami game, but one of the chances that they got in the Miami game was off a turnover, counterattack. They crossed the ball, and Miles Robinson, in a rare moment, swung and missed at the ball. It went right to Higuain, and so there we gave up a tremendous chance. But that's not going to happen, right? I mean, Miles Robinson is not going to swing and miss at too many balls. So, I think you used the right word, and I actually hadn't thought about it that way yet. So use the word control. De Boer always talked about he wanted to control games, and it turned out his idea of controlling the games wasn't being in control at all. It was passing the ball around the back to get some stats. And when we lost the ball, we looked vulnerable. It looked like they were going to get chances. When you look at a Heinz team so far, we look more in control. Yeah. We actually, people are going to get beat. You're going to have moments where somebody breaks you down, but you don't see thus far a Heinz team giving up good chances with nobody getting beat. Yeah. And that's, it's a funny thing to say. Is, oh, sure, someone always gets beat. Under the De Boer system, sometimes nobody really got beat because nobody was matched up enough to try and, have that moment. Under Heinz, we seem so much more in control.
Minus that Philly game.
Well, the Philly game, I totally disagree. Everybody's talking about the Philly game, right? We came out in the first half of that Philly game against a Philadelphia Union team that was the Supporter Shield winner, very good team, and we were completely in control.
Crushed it.
I mean, Curtin, was the coach of Philadelphia, was arguing like we were really in trouble. They could have been down 3-0, and if that is a future, 6 months from now or even next year or whatever, we would have buried Philadelphia. They would have been gone.
One thing I like about the outcome of that is now I have a real good reason to hate Philadelphia and the Union and their coach. I just need some more hate in my life.
It's good to be a hater.
But, I think that the episode between Heinz and Curtin is pretty funny as well. And Heinz's quotes back were all class and perfect.
Well, so dear podcast listener, in case you haven't been following it, right? So after the game, one of the things, Heinz was really angry that Philadelphia was just wasting time. There were people down on the ground, like really egregious wasting time. Not just like, okay, we're going to put it out or whatever for time, but just like making fools of themselves. And he just wouldn't have anything. And Heinz, this is a Mikey Dobbs kind of coach, right? Because he ain't going to take nothing, right? And he refused to shake the hand of Curtin, and Curtin thought that was really, unprofessional and whatever. But I'm like, damn straight, if you're going to you're going to act unprofessional, and they clearly were.
I mean, so and I went on to those Twitter sphere places to get some Philadelphia Union comments, and they were talking about how, of course, Atlanta United players dive. Of course, all teams dive, and the difference in that game, because I was there in person, is the absolute not getting up and acting like as if you tore your ACL and laying on the ground for 4 minutes when you are completely not hurt at all. And it's just total acting in a CCL type environment, and the ref letting you get away with that, and the coach letting you get away with that. Right. And it just was really next level as far as one of the top games I've seen where that was allowed.
And it's funny, Tata had that fieriness to him. Tata's a super nice guy, but he had this moment, a couple of moments. I remember one where the team was doing that or whatever, and the ball rolled to him late. Do you remember this? On the sidelines, and he hit a bullet right at the guy who was down, right himself. He was pissed, and he kicked the ball right at him from the sideline. I'm like, he's feisty too, right?
Yeah.
So good for Heinze, right? Like, I mean, that could get us in trouble in the future, but he's not going to take anything, and the players are going to take their cue from that. They're not going to take anything either.
So I was going to go around the horn on each player and just discuss players. But why don't we start with the coach, Heinze?
Mm-hmm.
I think we've already agreed, third in the table, new coach, new system, 2-2-1. The players more than the thing that I feel is such a change is you can tell the players love Heinze and will follow him and kick whoever Heinze wants to kick, even if it's his grandmother. You know what I mean? Like, you can sense from the interviews, you can sense from the vibe on the field, whether it's working or not, they are rally behind whatever his message is and the style that he wants to play. And they have the ultimate respect of Gabriel Heinze. And I think that to me is so critical for us to be able to grow back to a position where we make the MLS Cup final.
I agree. And players have to be able to gain confidence, and he has thus far seems to be really had the players back too, even with some of our struggles and finishing or whatever. Like, after the Philadelphia game, people were like, the media wanted him to say, we had a disaster, whatever. He had nothing to, his quotes on that game is, we play great. We play great. And he's right. Yeah. I mean, they had an epic meltdown. And if you want to have a critique of Heinze thus far, it was the panic that ensued after we gave up the fluke goal after dominating for so long. But, to Heinze's credit, he didn't throw players under the bus. He didn't throw the team under the bus. He's like, we played well. We continue to do that. We're going to beat them.
Yeah. I think his quote was, my team is a joy to watch.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, and if you do that and you give confidence, a guy like Marcelino Moreno, who's had a little bit of a slow start, a lot of coaches would be on him, pulling him, and he's just, okay, keep going, keep getting better. And that is a game changer as a coach.